All right, let's talk about the goal for the grid versus above and beyond, okay? Like I said a couple times, there's a certain point into the grid that you have to get through by the time that we move on to the next unit, and then there is above and beyond work, okay? So level 1 is absolutely a level you have to get through, okay? This is like basic knowledge about whatever topic you're talking about. And then you have level 2. Now, sometimes our what we call summative assessment will be in level 2. Summative assessment is just like the test, okay? So along the way, you will have formative assessments, right? You see here, right here it says formative assessment. You'll have those at the end of a level. In level 1 and typically level 2, those are kind of like quizzes, okay? So they don't necessarily count towards your grade, but you do want to do well on them because they're like checkpoints to see how are you doing so far, and are you understanding it, or do you need to go back and take a closer look at something before moving further? Okay, so those are checkpoints. Even though they don't count towards your grade, they do go in the grade book to track what you got on those, and they help you see how you're doing, okay? But typically, most times, our test, what we call summative assessment, will be at the end of level 3. That is the minimum of what you need to get through. So notice how this one happens to say when your summative assessment must be completed by. So if you happen to get done with that sooner than that date, great, good for you, that's awesome. But if you need until that day, that's totally fine too. So that's no problem at all. The only thing that can't happen is you can't take it after that date unless you were maybe absent and we had something figured out that we discussed. Okay, but that's very rare. You have to get it done by this date. But that's only through level 3. So then when you get on to level 4 and 5, sometimes these will have one section, maybe 2 sections, so they're not as many sections. However, they are more complicated. So these 2 sections, level 4 and level 5, are what we call enrichment levels, enrichment levels. So this means you're going above and beyond the standard that you're being asked to look at. So this is a great place to challenge yourself, think outside the box, be very imaginative with what you could do, and really push yourself to do something further with the target that we're looking at. So, for example, these types of activities are going to be a little bit more in-depth. They're going to be a little bit more on you, less guided by me. I'm going to give you some instructions here, but you will need to take it further and see what else could you do with it. So these are not intended to get done in one class period. So you might need to take a couple work sessions to work through them. But remember, these are enrichment levels. So if you don't get to these, it is no big deal. What you must get through is the summative assessment, whether that's in the end of level 3 or possibly end of level 2. It just depends on the grid, okay? But it will always tell you. So that is the goal for the grid, is to finish the summative by the date that is here. But if you get done with it before the date that's listed here, you have above and beyond levels, okay? That's how the grid works.